good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome back to OCP Insta Live discussions that we have. We are taking up discussions around every time and for few time, or we had a pretty much big gap between our former session. It's all because of transition that our society is going through or our organization is going through, and we feel that everything will be well soon. With this, we also like to inform you another thing. Our At present, our website is in maintenance condition, and it will be back on few days. We will announce the same soon for you, and we really know how excited you are to go back to our website and know what's happening throughout the world. So before beginning this session, once again I like to thank Yulia Kilishin, who was there with us for our former session. Let's talk about iconography, where she joined from all the way from Ukraine. Today we have Abel Matthew, all the way from Kerala, who is here with us. Here, through this session, we are just trying to give an introduction towards our publication department, particularly OCP publication department. We like to give more emphasis to our one of the bestseller of our all time. That's The Orthodox Dilemma, written by George Alexander. So before going further, I like to mention few main things about OCP and its OCP publication. As you all know, OCP is an organization. It's a pan-Orthodox Christian society that's working from 2007. We are on the doors of starting up to our 15 years or the halfway anniversary. We are going to have that soon. And about publication department, we have done a lot. We have published a lot of works regarding, or I think maybe you can give the common spectrum. Like in pan-Orthodox world, we have done a lot of publication. One of the important or one of the main blockbuster of our all time is The Orthodox Dilemma. That was our third book. Before going further to other introduction to this particular book, I like to make some things to your information, like our former publications. Our first publication was Orthodox Church of East in 21st Century Challenges and Opportunity. That was our first book that we published right after on our anniversary, on our first anniversary. And then we have published few other works like collective writings on Orthodox Christianity. Though these two books are out of print and you can't have this anymore in anywhere. Then the third one was The Orthodox Dilemma, the one which we are going to discuss today. That particular book, you can find the same on Amazon, and you can also get a free copy of the same by mailing mailing your concern or mailing your need to us to our official email ID or through our official social media accounts. Then we have published two other books. That was serial one that we had two parts of Western Rite of Free Orthodox Malankara Church that you can see at present, which is in my hand. This was the first part, and this was the second part. So it's all about Western rites all over the world, and this was another blockbuster one, or which we saw a huge response from our readers. Then we have also published another book, Malankara Nasrani Research Papers. That's all the way. It's all about Indian Church, and that was published in 2020. And our new works include The Path of Oikonomia with Jesus Christ as our lighthouse. That was published in 2020. That was written by one of our Center for Orthodox Studies member, John. And we have few other books too, like Orthodox Church is for All. That was published in 2021. That was written by Deacon Logan. And the last one, the latest one which we have, that is about Resurgence of our Armenian Church. That was published in 2021. We will have an exclusive live discussion about the same soon, and we are expecting two more books on the line. That's written by late Father Abraham Uman. It's all about his experience and his theological commentaries and all. So today we are going to discuss about Orthodox Dilemma. Sorry, I don't have a physical copy of the book, so it's better to show this to you. This is the cover of the book, The Orthodox Dilemma. So today we are having our Abel with us, who will share more info about this book or more insight from readers' perspective about the same. So giving a common introduction to Orthodox Dilemma, this book was published in the year 2016 and its fourth edition was published in 2018. And as I mentioned above, now you can have this book both a physical copy through Amazon and a soft copy through, you can get it through mailing directly to us. So further going further on, I like to take a few important things that are mentioned in this book. This book is really like a guide for all, but we don't think that this guide or this model can be a full-fledged one that can be reinforced and that can see 100% success. But this is a clear model that was done with efforts from personal experience from George Alexander, who was Secretary of Orthodox Ecoinate Beach for a long time. His experience is incredible, and that made him to write the same, and we are also expecting similar works from his side soon. And now I think it's better to go directly to have some reflections from Abel, who is here with us. So, Abel, hi. Welcome to our Let's Talk dialogue session. And so, discussing about the book, what's the significance of this particular book? Do you think that this book is significant for this era? As you are seeing a lot of issues around the world, around the Orthodox world, particularly you are seeing some issues like Ukrainian crisis, Ethiopian crisis, and everywhere you can see few issues, and still you can see the difference between EO and O, Oriental Orthodox and Eastern Orthodox churches. So, from your perspective, what's your thoughts on the significance of this particular book written by George Alexander?
Thank you, Don. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, fine. Thank you, Don. When we talk about the Orthodox Dilemma, the first thing that comes to mind is the word dilemma. The dilemma is a word that meaning is a situation in which a difficult choice has to be made between two or more alternatives, especially one that are equally undesirable. So, the Orthodox Dilemma never points out who is right or who is wrong. This book shows what are the possibilities of unity between the Orthodox churches all over the world. Along with that, the book also tried to tell the readers that Orthodox Church is not like a Catholic Church, Roman Catholic Church, which has a hierarchy in the top like Pope and following the bishops. But Orthodox churches are peculiar and they have their ideologies, their culture, their system. But the basic theological ideas and the basic belief in Christ, all these things, and along with that the sacraments, they can be united. The Orthodox Dilemma is relevant in this scenario because we can say that this issue between the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Oriental Orthodox Church started around 1,500 years ago. And after 1,500 years, what is the possibility of unity is shown in this book. As you have mentioned earlier, the issues in the Ukraine church, along with the churches, issues in the Ethiopian church and Eritrean church, all these issues are mainly because of there's a possible unity between the Orthodox Church. The Orthodox churches cannot be united in the sense of what the culture, they cannot be united on the basis of culture. But these issues between the churches can be solved through dialogue. This book really points out what is the dilemma between these two churches and what are the possibilities of the platform for unity. It's not, we are not saying in this book, George Alexander is not telling about making a big unity and considering the Constantinople Patriarchate as the supreme head of the Orthodox Church. But to begin with the problems that created the schism of AD 451 and come united, schism. But we should avoid all that and be in love. And this book, I think that this book really shows the path towards the unity between, especially the unity between Eastern Orthodox and the Oriental Orthodox. So the book is really relevant. I think that even if after 100 years or more, this book will be relevant. Because I don't know that whether the Eastern Orthodox Church or the Oriental Orthodox Church will get united. There are several dialogues happening all around the world, but even if they are not united, this book is relevant. Even if they are united, this book is relevant because this book shows what is Orthodox Church. That's a basic idea about if a person who is coming from a Protestant church or any Anglican church, they came to know about the Orthodox Church and they want to know about what is Orthodox Church. I would like to suggest this book for them because the author speaks completely what is Orthodox Church, what is its meaning, what is its culture, what are the issues between the churches, how the church can be united. And one more statement that I would like to add with the relevance of this book, that is the word ecumenism. That is, this book points out more than ecumenism. The first thing that should be happen between the brothers. Brothers they should be united first. Then only we can speak about ecumenism, that like joining with the Roman Catholic Church or something like that. So the issues between the brothers must be solved through a simple path. That's a simple path as is given by George Alexander in this book.
That's an enlightening answer from your side. That's a massive answer, and I think our audience and the people who watch after this will get the real essence of the same and lead more to make more interest to read the literature. So, in addition to this, I just have a curiosity to ask you, what was the exciting takeaways, or what's your takeaways from this particular book? What was your understanding from this particular book as a reader, as a new reader to this particular area of study? So, what was your takeaways?
John, I have read this book in the last lockdown. That means when the breakout of Corona happened. When I started reading this book, the first page, and after the cover page, there's a page, and it's written like this: Personal Reflections on Global Pan-Orthodox Christian Consular Unity. So when I started reading this book, I wondered why he's going to write a personal reflection. Why he's mentioning like that in the first page of the book. When I started reading this book, I was able to understand that his idea, his view about the Orthodox Church is extremely valuable for the Orthodox Church. Not only the Orthodox Church, the Christian Church. We know that there is only one church, that is the Orthodox, the true Apostolic Church. So, he points out what is the importance of the unity of this church through his personal reflection. In the first chapter, I think the first chapter or the second chapter, he points out the two incidents that is happening to him. That is one with the Eastern Orthodox Church and one is with the Oriental Orthodox Church. The two situations where the one priest is not ready to accept the Oriental Orthodox Church. On the other hand, the Oriental Orthodox Church bishop thinking that this organization is working for Eastern Orthodox Church and they are trying to implement something that, or they are making going to make issues with the Oriental Orthodox Church. So what I understood from these two things is that the main issue of Oriental Orthodox Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church is they are not ready to talk to each other. When we look into the Chalcedon Synod, after the many theologians, especially Father Dr. B.C. Samuel, he examined about the issues that happened in the Chalcedonian Synod. He really mentions about the terminology, the usage of terminologies which created issues with the church, which is lasting for more than 1,500 years. So what the best takeaway about this book is that the personal reflections that George Alexander was able to get from these Orthodox churches. So I think that as a reader, what I understood is that when I started reading this book, what I understood is that I was able to travel with him and understand that this is the experience that I am going to get from an Eastern Orthodox Church or an Oriental Orthodox Church. And many people may think that how can he say that? How can a reader or a person like George Alexander can say that Eastern Orthodox Church or the Oriental Orthodox churches have this view regarding the unity between the churches? But I would like to say that you should read each and every page of this book. And what is the important thing regarding this book is that in every chapter of this book, he mentions about his personal experience. That's really important. This book will help you to understand on the basis of your understanding about the Orthodox Church, what is going to happen in the next year or the past, what happened in the past can be resolved. So the best takeaway from this book is that to understand that the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Oriental Orthodox Church are from the same root. And if you want to understand why they are from the same root, we can understand from the personal reflections of George Alexander. So I think that, and one more thing, what I would like to add is, this book never says that all the priests of Eastern Orthodox Church or the Oriental Orthodox Church are not ready for the unity. There are many bishops, there are many theologians, there are many people, laymen, who are willing for the unity between these apostolic church. So, what we had to take, what I was able to gain from this book is that leave Orthodox, understand the Orthodox Church, and move on with unity and love. That's a really important thing in this book.
Okay. By the way, I am so sorry that in introduction I couldn't mention the whole name of this. The Orthodox Dilemma. That's a main hitting title, but it's a long title. I will just read that the same. So the whole title of the book is The Orthodox Dilemma: Personal Reflections on Global Pan-Orthodox Christian Councilor Unity, and a call for dialogue between Eastern, Oriental, Old Believers, Old Calendarers, traditional, unrecognized, and new generation Orthodox churches. That's a detailed line or the name of this particular book. You can see that each idea that mentioned in this particular heading line or the topic line or the name of the book is well mentioned in this book, and you can understand more about the same. So Abel, as a reader, I think that you are a constant reader in similar subjects too, related to Orthodox Church and other churches too. So what's your opinion on this particular book written by George Alexander? Do you have any particular suggestions about the book, or do you think that something would be better if it was also added into it? Or do you have any suggestions or recommendations to this improvement of this book?
Yeah, as I have mentioned before, there's a book which has relevance in all time. So, what I would like to suggest about this book is that this book should be updated every year. I don't think so this is possible, but this book should be updated every year. What the basic benefit of this book is, we can understand what happened in AD 451. And we can understand what is happening in 2021. So I know that the last edition was on 2018. This book mentions about the last thing happened in 2018, what the last thing happened in the Orthodox world. So this book really points out what is the real issue between the church. The basic issue between these two churches is that they have taught something that cannot be removed from the history. the basic problem with these two churches is that I have mentioned the misunderstanding between the theologians that happened in Chalcedonian Synod is repeated throughout these 1,500 years, and they are continuing that. They are not ready to sit and talk about it. I'm not mentioning about, it's not true that the both fathers, the church fathers from the both sides sat together and they discussed about it, and they made several statements regarding this issues that happened in the Chalcedonian Synod, but they are not ready to continue it. That is the issue. The laymen or the people are not ready to understand each other. The basic principle of the Orthodox or the Christian church is that love each other. But that love is not happening in the world between the churches. And in the last sections of this book, we can see that what is happening in the social media regarding this book. We can see that the Eastern Orthodox Church members, especially our brothers, they are thinking that the Oriental Orthodox churches are not really the Christian churches, and they are creating issues. But on the other hand, the World Council of Churches, they come together and they will discuss to each other about the theology, they will discuss about the issues in the world, and at last, they are not ready for the unity. They are not ready to come under a common platform and discuss about what is happening for the Orthodox Church. So what is needed for the Orthodox Church? So I think that this book should be published or updated each and every year. That last, I think that I strongly believe that after 100 or 1,000 years, or even we don't know what will happen in the next moment. But I believe that even though the Orthodox Church is not able, it's true that Orthodox Church cannot be united and have a supreme head. Our supreme head is Jesus Christ. That's true, God. But we can come together in many things, and that things can be, or for a common reader, he can understand what are the common things in which the church can come together.
That's a good suggestion from your side to update the book each and every year. And we are so sorry that we were not able to do the same, but we were doing the same up to 2018. After that, we couldn't do anything. So as the major thing, so after 2018, we have seen many major events or happenings in pan-Orthodox world, and still that should be updated. That's a need of the time. But on the same way, I will just suggest you to go through our news or our articles that we are publishing in our portal, so that you will get more understanding about the same, or you can track the news hour by hour or day by day about what's happening throughout the world or throughout the Orthodox world. So coming to the last session of this discussion, so how catching was the composition of this whole book? I think as this topic is a little bit dry to people, and it will be little bit not that much enthusiastic for a first reader. So what's your thoughts on composition of this book?
When you think about the composition of this book, I really wonder the time that George Alexander spent on this. The basic structure of this book, that's really important thing. When we go through the introduction section or even the content section, we can understand that each and every chapter is a continuation of one by one. He understands for the first section we can see that what is Orthodox Church, which are the families included in the Orthodox churches, or the difference between the Orthodox churches. And the first chapter, and then goes to the first chapter in where he discusses about the distant dream of Orthodox Christian consular unity. And by each step, he ends with the books with a beautiful idea of the united Orthodox Christian people. How can a church, the Orthodox Church, can be united and be a good witness to the world as a Christian? So the book really points out how we can understand the Orthodox Church, what are the issues between the Orthodox Church, how these issues can be solved in this solved in this world. So the book really, the people who, first of all, as I mentioned before, the people who doesn't know anything about the Orthodox Church, they can come they just come and take this book and understand what is happening throughout the Orthodox world. Even the word Orthodox, I was really wondering why he should mention the meaning of Orthodox Church. Because the people who doesn't know Orthodox Church is not going to read this book. But later, when I thought about this description given by George Alexander in the first pages, I understood that even a Christian who doesn't know about the Orthodox Church can come and understand what is Orthodox Church, what are the issues in the Orthodox Church, how that issues can be solved. And what we should understand from this book is that the schism happened in AD 451. Later, many theologians came forward and discussed about this problem. And these theologians had mentioned many solutions for this issue. So, this book helps to understand what are the ways, what are the methods to which we can adopt to solve this issue. And the ending, he points out the real ideology of Orthodox Christian unity, that is United Orthodox Christian Witness. That witness should be our focus, and we should move on with that. So I think this book will help the people to read it, will help the readers to understand what is Orthodox Church, and we can move on with the idea of United Christian Witness.
That's a great insight towards the book, and I think that this will make more people to come up with interest to read the same. And I think this is the ideal time to read about the same, because we are seeing a lot of issues throughout the Orthodox world. We are interested to take up questions if you need, if you have any. And we are much happy to see that few brothers from Serbia is here, and they are waving out their hands and showing their own inputs towards our organization. We are much thankful for those people, and special mention to who it was. Sorry, I couldn't get his name. And we once again we like to thank all who has joined us. And hereby I also like to once again repeat that if you like to get a copy of this book, feel free to even through Insta, you can directly message to us so that we can take up the request, or you can directly make a short mail towards our official media network email, that is media network at ocp.org. So you can reach there. We have given that in our poster. Particularly here, I'll also like to add one more other thing. And I am much happy to see that too. Abel, in our posters too, we have given some recent pictures about Kirill visiting Kharkiv. On the other side, Ecumenical Patriarchate visiting Coptic bishops, Syrian bishops, Armenian bishops, and I think we also there you could also see Serbian Patriarch Porphyry with Coptic bishops. So I think nowadays we are seeing a lot of Orthodox hierarchs coming up for meeting other Orthodox, like Eastern Orthodox hierarchs coming up with their own missions to visit Oriental Orthodox hierarch. I am much happy to see that. For this, I think we need to have a special mention of Russian Orthodox Church and their extraordinary work on this same particular field. And we are much thankful all the churches who are making initiative towards this. And on the other side, we also like to put forward this, put forward the thought, what as Abel has mentioned in his last part, this book really mentioned about what's happening in social media. Still, I am working as a media correspondent in OCP, and I am much sad to see that few replies that we get in OCP social media that are not that much overwhelming, and it's showing again to hatred or to a differentiation or a gap between brothers. And we like to bridge that gap, and that's why OCP is here. OCP is a common platform for all Orthodox believers, faithfuls, and for all churches to come together. Abel, once again, I'd like to thank you for this fruitful time with you. I think we can come up with more sessions like this, particularly by getting introduced to our other books that I have already mentioned. One of the main greatest work is this one, Western Rites of Syrian Orthodox Malankara Church. It was really about Western rites in Orthodox churches, and here too we have mentioned Western rites in majority of Orthodox churches in this book. And we are looking forward for more programs in the similar way. And here, before closing, I like to make to your note that our site is currently in annual maintenance, and it will be up soon. And we will announce the same soon in all our social medias. Stay tuned. So once again, thank you all for joining us, and see you in another discussion in another session of Let's Talk. So get the updates from our Instagram, Facebook, and all. So see you. Thank you once again, and good evening, good night, and good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you are. We have lots of followers from different parts of the world. So thank you all. See you soon.